Hey, welcome to the One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute with your host, the alchemist of Indiana's Black Forest, Alan Bishop. Hey, this channel is all about home distilling and legal distilling. If you've got questions, reach out to us in the comments below, social media, or via bishopshomegrown@gmail.com. And don't forget to check out thealchemistcabinet.com. Hey guys, back again with the One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute, here to answer your questions about the art of distillation, be it home distilling and or professional distilling. I do apologize, I haven't gotten more videos and stuff done this week, and if you have ghosts or any of those things. It has been a busy 2 weeks. I've been working on some things within my community to do with some zoning that I think is wrong to put on people. It has taken up an immense amount of my time. The county that I live in, I'd just say politics are questionable here is all I'll say, but it's not going to take away from all things I love, including this channel. Absolutely 100%, guys. And for anybody who's reached out to touch base with me on this zoning issue over time, I really appreciate your support greatly. But hey, the new Practical Distillers 2025 Almanac available for order now. If you order it, you get a digital copy right now, which you can use right now, and you'll get the physical copy as soon as we get those in. My understanding is they are printing as we speak. They should be to Kim and I here in the near future. They will be going out to you as soon as we get them here, so they'll be in your hands. Next year, I'm already almost done with the Almanac for next year. My goal is for 2026 to have that Almanac done in September or October, and hopefully even have physical copies by that time, like a proper Farmer's Almanac or Old Farmer's Almanac. Still learning at this thing as I go. Still learning what I want to put in the Almanac, still sort of formatting the Almanac, all that sort of stuff. Very proud of this year's edition and last year's edition, and I think that it makes a good addition to any distiller's library or any agrarian-minded person's library for sure, absolutely. But as always, here to answer your questions. Please email me, bishopshomegrown@gmail.com, or any of my social media, or in the YouTube comments below, and I will do my best always to answer your questions about the art of distillation. So getting into this from my buddy Terry, who has asked some great questions about fruit brandy recently. So, hey Alan, thanks for dealing with all my questions. I'm pretty happy with my grain spirits, but still looking to impart more fruitiness into my brandy. Pretty much all my brandy, regardless of fruit, is good. It's nice to drink, but I'm trying to figure out how to impart more characteristics of the fruit into the end product. You gave me what I think is going to be great advice on my last question about the quantity and type of apples I'm using. This last run was my best apple brandy yet, and it was also the most fruit packed. That's awesome. And no sugar added. 78 pounds mixed apples, 5 gallons apple juice, 1 gallon of water. That's beautiful. However, I was thinking about some advice I heard you give on running rye at obtention temperature, and was wondering if the same thought would apply here, and would a cooler temp or a slightly warmer obtention temperature carry the most aromatic character through the worm. I typically try to measure my distillate and keep it running about 75 degrees. If I can run it a little warmer or a little cooler, I'm just wondering if those characteristics carry through more at higher or lower temperatures. Thanks again, Terry. Great questions as always, Terry, and glad to help. So I have talked about obtention temperature quite often on this channel, specifically in regards to whiskey, sometimes in regard to brandy. 68 to 72 Fahrenheit, that's sort of the traditional standard amongst most distillers for a finishing run. Because it's just warm enough to be able to blow off some of the volatility that you might not want, specifically in grain whiskey. They'll do that in cognac, though, too, with grape brandy. Now, here's what I would say as far as obtention temperature with apple brandy. I would try to start the doubling run off, in that range, 68, 72, maybe up to 75, and blow off some of those heads if you can, some of those volatiles that you don't want. Apple brandy a lot of times tends to have, in my opinion, heads tend to have this little bit of like a red raspberry character that can be a little alluring of its own accord, but mixed into the matrix overall, definitely not something you want, and it does turn to that more acetone, acetaldehyde sort of characteristic. So if during the heads you can run a little warmer, that's very worthwhile. If you're going to use this for a white spirit and you want to hold on to all that apple flavor you can, though, there would be nothing wrong whatsoever with cooling your condenser down, thus your obtention temperature of the alcohol, and you'd probably be able to hold on to a lot more of that apple volatility that you want to keep, that characteristic of the apples that you're trying to hold on to, specifically for a white spirit. I think you would really find that a very worthwhile thing. So that would be my advice there. I do apologize that my finger just went in front of the camera. My tripod is broken. I've not made it to get another one yet or ordered one from Amazon, mostly because I've been too distracted by everything else. But let's move on to the next question here and see what we got today, because I'm sure there's some other good stuff in here. Let's see. That one's a long one. That might be its own video. Just a second, guys. I know I've got more here somewhere. Just got to find it. Okay, here we go. So from Michael. So, hey there, Alan. First, I want to say thank you for all that you do and for all that you do, especially providing so many great resources for us for free. I'm looking to do an apple brandy to fill a bad motivator barrel with a light roast and #1 char. In this article that you wrote, and then he links to an Alchemist Cabinet article, which was Making Historic Midwest Apple Brandy, originally published in Distiller, Brewer, and Venter magazine from February and March of 2018. You mentioned to stay away from Golden Delicious. I did. See, sometimes I'm even wrong. But recently I've heard you say that Golden Delicious varietals carry over well. I was wondering if you could clear that up for me. I'm unfortunately using commercial varietals, and I'm trying to include as many different ones as possible, including some pairs. So I've included Cosmic Crisp, Gala, Granny Smith, Pink Lady, Fuji, Kanzi, and considering adding the Golden Delicious. Also, I'm considering adding some active culture yogurt that includes lactose and S. thermophilus. Do you think that this would be beneficial? And if so, when would you suggest pitching the yogurt in fermentation? Prior to yeast / co-pitching or post-fermentation? Again, great apple brandy questions. I'm glad to help out here where I can. My hand is cramping up from holding the phone. I'm going to have to order that tripod soon. Anyways, so yes, at one point in time, I did go against Golden Delicious, but so let me clarify. We're always learning new things, right? We're always experimenting and trying new things and learning new things. At that time, I was thinking of, let's say you're trying to do a single varietal sort of thing. And so I didn't think that Golden Delicious was all that great as a single varietal. Now, what I have come to learn over the years from experimentation and trial and error is that not only am I wrong sometimes, but Golden Delicious has a place. And of all the modern culinary apples, it is, in my opinion, the best culinary apple that there is for the art of apple distillation from fermented cider or from fermented apples. I won't say that it's an overly complex distillate. I won't say that it of its own accord is a very interesting distillate. What I will say is that it does carry decently. It does make a fantastic backbone, whether you use it in a mix or of its own accord. And it does hold up fairly well, especially for the price and the availability of that particular apple. My suggestion for Golden Delicious is using it in an apple mash or even in a mixed cider that you're going to ferment, is that, you could use up to 50 or 60% of that as the backbone of your spirit, the backbone of the apples that you're going to use. And there would be nothing wrong with that whatsoever. In the grape world, there's something similar to that called the Temps seedless. It's what most of your raisins are made out of. It's the big green grape you see at the grocery stores. It doesn't make a great brandy of its own, but it makes a great backbone. So the better way even to use it than through fermentation, in my opinion, mixed fermentation, is to actually make it its own distillate. Age it separately, alongside the stuff that you really want to use, and then use it for blending. Have it be the backbone and bulk of your spirit, and then add all the more interesting notes on top of it. For example, with Thompson Seedless, all of your Christian Brothers, all that sort of stuff, that's all Thompson Seedless, all those low-end brandies. It's not bad of its own accord, it's just not that interesting. But if you do like what we had done at Copper and Kings, and you take that base distillate, and then you fill the gaps and build off of the backbone with more interesting varietals, it certainly makes for much, much better brandy. So, yeah, I was wrong. I freely admit that I was wrong. And, go for Golden Delicious. Do it. It's not a bad apple at all. So, anyways, guys, as always, reach out to me. I'll be glad to answer your questions. Love you guys. Hope you're doing well. And make it over to thealchemistcabinet.com, to the warehouse, and order the 2025 Practical Distiller's Almanac. Thank you guys always for supporting everything I do. I'm hoping that this weekend I will also get a new short episode of If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything podcast done. So, love y'all. Later.